Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them, because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy. The Island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue seas. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the tracks? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Island of Sodor. Today on the Island of Sodor, well, a bunch of shit happens. I don't really know, just watch the DVD. On site with Thomas. It was a simmering summer's day on the Island of Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt had sent Thomas to help Jack and his friends at the construction site. They were busy working on the foundries for a new community center. Byron pushed the dirt, and Patrick poured concrete for a new plaque. Jack and Alfie were loading Thomas's trucks, but the hot sun had made them tired. Roasting radiators. It's hot, panted Jack. Makes my boiler ache, said Thomas. Out of the way, youngins, teased Patrick. Someone important's coming through. What makes you so important? Huffed Jack. Concrete, rattled Patrick. We're important too, said Alfie. But I'm the most important, said Patrick. He's a bit cheeky, puffed Thomas as he chuffed away. But Alfie and Jack were curious. Who is the most important? Jack couldn't wait to ask Byron. Is Patrick the most important? Asked Jack. Nonsense! Patrick can't pour his mushy concrete until I level the site. That makes me the most important. Alfie made a beeline for Oliver. Slow down. What's got you racing around in this heat? Patrick said he was the most important. Is that true? Oh my, no. Digging the foundations is the most important. And that's what I do. Transportation, boasted Nelson. Without transportation, there wouldn't be any construction. That makes me the most important. Our operators, declared Ned. They're in charge of safety. They're definitely most important. I give up, clattered Jack. They can't all be the most important, said Alfie. They were confused. When Thomas returned, he could see that everyone was talking about who was the most important. Even Max and Monty.
I'm the most important, dieseled Max. I am, boasted Monty. I can hold more in less time than anyone here. And before their operators can stop them, they were off to get even bigger loads. Max was getting the biggest load he can carry. More, boomed Max. So was Monty. More, boomed Monty.
I think that's enough, said Oliver politely.
More and hurry!
Well, if you say so.
Max! Monty! Slow down! Kelly called.
Thomas could see Max and Monty were heading for trouble.
I'm the most important, snapped Max. I am, blasted Monty. I am. Look out! Shouted Patrick. Whoa!
Uh-oh.
Ah! Flatten my fenders! Shouted Monty. Not my fault, called Max. My beautiful concrete, moaned Patrick.
My beautiful blue paint, moaned Thomas. Miss Jenny was cross when she heard the news. I'm very disappointed with you two, she said to Max and Monty. You've caused a lot of confusion and delay. And look at poor Thomas. We were only trying to show who was the most important, groaned Max. You're all the most important, said Miss Jenny. There's no such thing as being most important. Not even Patrick, clattered Jack. Patrick, scolded Miss Jenny. Were you bragging about concrete again?
I might have said something.
Percy Helps Out. It was summer on the island of Sodor. Percy enjoyed working in the sunshine. And he liked being able to say hello to his friends. Hello, Nelson, Percy called. Nelson was so busy, he barely had time to honk back. He was carrying machines everywhere, from the yards to the sites, and all the way home. Day after day, Nelson was carrying until his axles ached. Just once, he thought to himself, I'd like to be carried. That night, Nelson had a dream. He dreamt he was sailing through the countryside. The breeze was blowing, he was enjoying himself, and then he realized he was being carried. The next morning, Miss Jenny woke Nelson from his dream. Thomas has had an accident near Maithwaite Crossing, said Miss Jenny, so Tom Hat needs you to take him to the repair yard. Nelson hoped his friend was all right. When Nelson arrived, he saw Thomas had come right off the rails and had a broken wheel. Thank you for coming, chuffed Thomas cheerfully. We'll get you to the repair yard in no time, replied Nelson. Nelson had to be very careful. He had never carried a steam engine before. Thomas's driver and Nelson's operator set to work at once. Nelson struggled as he winched Thomas on board. You're heavier than a bulldozer and a steamroller put together, Nelson exclaimed. Thomas was surprised. I'm only a tank engine, he said. Soon, Nelson was on his way. But Thomas was heavy. Nelson had to work very hard. He puffed and panted, and he puffed and he pulled. Soon,
They were making excellent time. Thomas was impressed. "You're a very good carrier," said Thomas. "Thank you," said Nelson. "You know, I pull freight cars and passenger cars all day long," added Thomas. "It's good to be carried for a change." "I'd like to be carried sometime," said Nelson. "But who's big enough to carry me?" Soon, they arrived at the repair yard. "Well done," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You are a very useful truck." Nelson was tired, but he felt very proud. "You can leave Thomas on the load loader," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Miss Jenny needs you back at the yard immediately." "Yes, sir," said Nelson. "I'll drive as fast as I can." "That won't be necessary," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I'm taking you," finished Percy. Nelson could not believe what he had heard. Soon, Nelson was on board Percy's load loader, and with a shout of "Thank you, everyone," they were off. Percy was giving Nelson a splendid ride. It was as magical as he could have dreamed. The sky was blue, the trees were green. All Nelson had to do was look and listen as the beautiful Sodor countryside rolled peacefully by. "What an excellent day," said Nelson cheerfully. Percy was happy. His friend was enjoying himself. And he was too. A tale for Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt had a special for Thomas. "You will take 2 of Miss Jenny's machines to Maithwaite Forest. They're repairing the lightning tree." "Yes, sir," said Thomas. Jack and Alfie were excited. They couldn't wait to see the lightning tree. "Why is it called the lightning tree?" asked Thomas. "It was struck by lightning." "It's a very old and rare and special tree," added Miss Jenny. "It is why we need to repair it." "But how will we know which one it is?" "Oh, you'll know," Kelly laughed. "It's the biggest tree in the forest." "We need to prop it up before it falls over," said Miss Jenny. "So, be careful, all of you, and remember, safety first." Jack and Alfie made their way to the forest. "Look!" gasped Alfie. "The lightning tree!" cried Jack. The foreman had inspected the damages. Roots were pulled up. The lightning scar was long and deep. The tree looked like it would top over soon. Jack and Alfie approached very slowly. They had to remember what Miss Jenny had said about being careful, but Max and Monty were racing recklessly through the forest. "Look out!" cried Alfie. "You'll hit the tree!" shouted Jack. But it was too late. Max crashed into Monty, and Monty crashed into the lightning tree. "Who put that there?" grumbled Monty. "The tree's falling over!" shouted Jack. "Not my fault," called Max. "We must save it!" cried Alfie. "Help, Jack!" "I'm coming." "Move aside, little fella," said Oliver. Oliver raised his mighty arm against the tree, but the tree was too heavy. "Kelly!" shouted Jack. "We need more help!" Before long, Kelly was helping too. The 3 of them struggled to hold the tree upright. "Get the props!" called Kelly's operator. Jack raced off to get the props from Thomas. The machines strained to pull up the tree, but they were getting very tired. Soon, the prop trolley had been attached to Jack, and he was on his way. Thomas hoped Jack would get to the lightning tree in time. Jack went as fast as his wheels could carry him. Alfie pushed and pushed until his arm ached. "I don't think we can hold this much longer," groaned Oliver. But Jack raced up just in time. The workmen soon attached the props. The lightning tree was safe. "Hooray!" grinned Alfie. Miss Jenny was pleased. "A terrific job," she said. "The lightning tree is safe." Kelly, Oliver, Jack, and Alfie were proud. "But no thanks to you two," she said to Monty and Max. "You'll return to the yards immediately." Max and Monty were ashamed. They knew that they were in trouble. Later, Thomas was taking Alfie and Jack back to Miss Jenny's. "Look!" cried Alfie. "You could see it from here," called Jack. It was the lightning tree. Thomas was glad it was saved.
Sodor's always busy with jobs that must be done. Being really useful, it's not just work, it's fun. Hard work can be dirty with coal and dust and grime. But if we choose to work or play, we choose to work each time. There are jobs across the island, today we're on the quay. Loading this and shunting that like fish fresh from the sea. We might be in the quarry or pulling the express. Whatever work we're doing, we always do our best. Sodor's always busy with jobs that must be done. Being really useful is not just work, it's fun. Hard work can be dirty with coal and dust and grime. But if we choose to work or play, we choose to work each time. It takes a team of engines that clear snow from the tracks. But when you're building buildings, you'll need Jack and his pack. They're digging, dipping, loading, whatever duty calls. Filling holes with concrete or knocking over walls. Sodor's always busy with jobs that must be done. Being really useful is not just work, it's fun. Hard work can be dirty with coal and dust and grime. But if we choose to work or play, we choose to work each time. What's the next job waiting? Only time will tell. If a job's worth doing, we like to do it well. Sodor's always busy with jobs that must be done. Being really useful is not just work, it's fun. Hard work can be dirty with coal and dust and grime. But if we choose to work or play, we choose to work each time. Sodor's always busy with jobs that must be done. Being really useful is not just work, it's fun. Hard work can be dirty with coal and dust and grime. But if we choose to work or play, we choose to work each time.
The Tortoise and the Hare. Buster the steamroller loves the feeling of speed. The sun on his back and the wind on his rolls. "Don't fall asleep," chuffed Thomas. "I'm thinking," said Buster. But he wasn't. He was dreaming about what it would feel like to win a race. Thomas had brought Buster to the Sodor Auto Racetrack, where his friends were working. They were going to finish the track today. It was a responsible job. The track had to be made safe. Buster flattened the track around the final bend. He was still dreaming about winning a race. And the winner is Buster, the fastest steamroller in the world! Vroom, vroom, Buster cried. You think you're fast? Teased Monty. If you were going any slower, you'd go backwards, teased Max. But Buster paid no attention. He was having too much fun. Finally, the work was finished, and Miss Jenny came to inspect the site. You're a good crew, she said, but the track still needs testing. Can I test it, Miss Jenny? Asked Buster. I'm the fastest steamroller in the world. More like the slowest, sniggered Max. Monty sniggered too. Perhaps all three of you should test it, said Miss Jenny. The foreman will give you the all clear. But remember, no speeding. Of course not, said Monty. But Max and Monty knew they were going to go as fast as they could. They waited for the foreman to give the all clear signal. I'm ready, cried Buster. You couldn't beat a snail, said Max. Not even a sleepy snail, added Monty. The foreman raised his flag. Max and Monty were speeding away. You jumped the signal, grumbled Monty. Did not, snapped Max. Buster trundled happily down the track, as fast as his rollers would carry him, which wasn't very fast at all. Monty was so cross he bumped Max. Ow! Cried Max. You dented me! You're in the way! Snapped Monty. Max was still cross with Monty. He decided to bump him back. Before they knew it, they skidded off the track into a ditch. Said the bull. Whoa! Said Max and Monty. They struggled their way out of the ditch. They were speeding towards the finish. Monty and Max sped down the track, but Buster trundled towards the finish. Go, Buster! Cheered his friends. No! Said Monty. It can't be! Said Max, but it was too late. Buster chuffed and puffed across the finish line. When Max and Monty crossed the finish line, they were still arguing. I came second, cried Max. Third, snapped Monty. You won, Buster, said Jack. And I wasn't even speeding, he said. When Thomas came to collect Buster, he was pleased. I brought a steamroller, he said, but now I'm taking a champion back. And he helped prove that the track is safe without speeding, added Miss Jenny. Buster was proud. Vroom, vroom, he said as Thomas chuffed past Monty and Max. I did come second, said Max. Third, snapped Monty. Alfie has kittens. It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. Thomas was bringing his friend Alfie to a demolition site. Hello, Thomas, rattled Jack. Hello, Jack, puffed Thomas. It seems everyone loves demolition, said Thomas. Yeah, I love demolition, said Alfie. It's when we get to knock buildings down. That's supposed to be fun? Asked Thomas. It's the best part, cried Alfie, and he swooped down and away. Look out, small fry, boomed Max. I'm not a small fry, said Alfie crossly. He didn't like to be teased about his size. But later that morning, Alfie was happy. The foreman had sent him to work with Ned. Ned wouldn't make him feel small. But as Alfie pulled up, Ned swung his bucket. Watch out! Cried Alfie. Sorry, said Ned. I didn't see you. You're smaller than you look. This made Alfie feel even smaller. Later, Alfie was working hard. Hurry up, half-pipe, eased Monty. Not half-pipe, wheezed Max. It's small fry. Alfie was upset. At the workman's coffee break, Thomas could see that Alfie was unhappy. What's wrong? He asked. I don't like being small, complained Alfie. As long as you're useful, said Thomas happily. It doesn't matter what size you are. Alfie thought about this for a moment. Break's over, shouted Kelly. Back to work. That afternoon, Alfie was determined to be really useful. He was helping Oliver demolish a building. Oliver's giant scissor claw grabbed the top of walls. It was very useful. Stop! Cried Alfie. I can hear something. Everyone stopped working, but no one can hear a thing. I already checked inside, said the foreman. Small fry's hearing things, said Max. I did hear something. I really did. The foreman looked inside again, and he was surprised. There's a mother cat in here, and she's got kittens. We must rescue them, said Alfie. The building isn't safe, said the foreman. I can't send my men in there. I'll go, said Alfie bravely. I'm small enough to fit inside. In no time, Alfie wiggled inside. The building creaked and plaster flew. Alfie held up his scoop for the cat and kittens to get in. Here, kitty, kitty, Alfie coaxed. But the cats didn't move. Suddenly, the upper wall began to crumble. Hurry, kitty, kitty, Alfie cried. But it was too late. Quick as a wink, Alfie covered the cat and kittens with his scoop, just in time. Meow, meow, said the cats. Phew, said Alfie. Well done, said Miss Jenny. It's a fine family of kittens. I couldn't have rescued them if I had been any bigger, said Alfie. You may be small, said Kelly, but you've got a big heart. And a really useful scoop, said Thomas. Alfie was proud, and he never complained about being small again. Thomas's trusty friends. Thomas was taking his friend Ned to the old brickworks. Ned was excited. Today I get to demolish, called Ned. Demolish? Again? Chuffed Thomas. Knocking buildings down, Ned fantasized. Thomas thought it was strange that his friends were always excited about knocking buildings down. Miss Jenny had shown the foreman the demolition plans. It's time to get to work, she said. And remember, safety first, cried Ned and Oliver. Oh boy, said Ned. I can't wait to knock this building down. Oh my, Ned. You're not here to demolish, rattled Oliver. You're supposed to scoop up the rubble. Ned was disappointed. He really wanted to knock the building down. Ned was usually in trouble for breaking things, but today it wouldn't matter. Oh.
Soon, Oliver was fitted with a wrecking ball. "Knock this wall down first," the foreman called. "Stand back if you please," called Oliver. Said Oliver. The wall didn't fall down. Oliver swung his wrecking ball as hard as he could. He said again. The wall still didn't fall down. "We need a bigger wrecking ball," cried the foreman. In no time, Oliver was fitted with a bigger wrecking ball. But still, the wall didn't fall down. "Can I help?" Ned asked hopefully. "No," said the foreman. "This is Oliver's job." Ned was sad. "Holy shit! This is the strongest wall I've ever seen!" Then the foreman checked the wall again. "We'll send for an even bigger wrecking ball," he said. Ned had gone back to load rubble into Thomas's trucks, but his heart just wasn't in it. "Ned!" shouted Thomas. "The rubble goes inside the trucks." "Sorry," said Ned. He was dreaming of knocking buildings down. Finally, Oliver was fitted with the biggest wrecking ball he had ever lifted. He aimed very carefully, and he swung with all his might. But the wall still didn't fall. "Oh, bother!" said Oliver. "This building's never coming down," groaned his operator. Ned was still dreaming about knocking buildings down. He wasn't watching where he was going. "Look out!" cried his operator. But it was too late. The chimney rocked. The bricks crumbled. The workmen and foreman took cover. Oliver and Thomas watched in amazement. "Oops," whispered Ned. "Hooray!" shouted the workmen. "Ouch! Oh! Ow! Oh!" Oliver was dirty and dented, and Thomas's freight cars were full. "Bust my buffers!" cried Thomas. "I'm loaded!" "I did it! I did it!" cried Ned proudly. "Smash the smithereens!" he steamed. "Do you want me to break anything else?" "Ouch!" "No!" sighed Oliver. "I think you've done enough for one day."
He's the cheeky one.